GM, GM. Trade of the day. So, I got long Solana on the reversal yesterday. Mentioned it in Swing Trader chat for the G's in there. If you're in Swing Trader chat, go check that out. All the details are there. But in a very simple sense, it was about 167 where I entered. And it was based off the panic selling of the ETF, or the panic selling of CPI, sorry, which came down on Sol and took out the low. So we just tagged it off. A low from a couple of weeks back. So if you look on the weekly chart, we had a strong impulsive move up. We had 3 weeks consolidation. We've swept out that low in this week. We're holding above this 167 level. And on the daily, we dipped down into the 50 EMA, held that, so retested the 50. Quite often leads to new highs. And then in general, I think Solana has one of the better setups for a run to all-time high from here. It might need to consolidate a bit more, but I've taken a bet that it's going to bottom out here and either run straight to a new high or move up, consolidate, and then break out higher after. And I think that if and when Sol can get above 210, I think it will go to all-time high pretty quickly. Chose Solana over BTC because, well, first of all, I'm already spot long Bitcoin anyway. Secondly, Bitcoin has far more resistance in the near term, right? In terms of Bitcoin might continue consolidating, and if you're actually thinking that we're close to a top, you'd expect to see Sol or Ethereum go first, right? Because Bitcoin already had its run. Bitcoin already hit its all-time high. So I'm thinking if we're bullish, Solana's been the leader of the bull market. Yeah. So if we're bullish, Solana should keep leading. And even if we're bearish, right, if it's going to be a local top, then you'd expect to see, at least I would expect to see, before any kind of major local top, I would expect to see at least one of Solana or Ethereum hit its all-time high. Because, if we're in a bull market and everyone's saying we're in a bull market, how come only Bitcoin's hit its all-time high? Seems like there needs to be more confirmation. And so the setup is favorable at this point. Again, I don't know how fast it's going to move, if it's going to move at all. First thing I'd like to see is a nice strong daily candle to get back above the green bands and hold the daily trend after touching the 50. That would be really strong if it does. And I was looking over here, there's also some on the data, there's some divergences. So just zoom out slightly here. You can see that all the way down, there's been an increase, or there was an increase of open interest, even as price was declining. So price is moving down for a few days, most of April. Open interest was moving up. Funding had come down, the premium had come down, and it was sideways. So, and we took out the lows. So we took out a significant low from 2-3 weeks ago, and yet there was no major wipe of open interest. In fact, open interest was spiking. If you see when open interest actually increased, it increased on the way down, and the spike was at the bottom. And then you can see open interest dropping as soon as it rallies. Clear sign that shorts were coming in. So same here, open interest rising all the way. It's literally ramping up open interest as it's going down. That's shorts coming in. Then they get squeezed back out. So the fact that it tried to go lower and rejected, so it tried to go lower, wouldn't go lower. There's still a buildup of open interest here over the past couple of weeks. Over 1 million contracts. 1.1 million contracts, which is about 200 million, 180, 190 million dollars of build up and open interest. And if it rejects going lower and it starts going higher, you're going to see a lot of these shorts covering. A lot of people were talking about, that Solana was breaking down. This was the big thing. There was a few things I saw on Twitter that apparently Solana was breaking down from a triangle formation or whatever. If you draw across here, right? People are looking at that and saying, oh, Solana's broken down, rejected, back inside. So first thing it needs to do is get the 4-hour bands back to green. So it's consolidating here. If it can get those 4-hour bands back to green, get back above the 50, I'll be looking to see, can it consolidate, get above, and then hold. And I'd be expecting to see the 50 come around. And if it can come back and hold that, consolidate, start moving up, I think that's when you're starting to see the possibility for a breakout. Yeah, and so I think if and when that happens, Sol probably has one of the better chances to run to all-time high. Of course, this relies on the market itself having more upside to come, which I think it does. Because even if we're not full bull, which I see plenty of top signals as well, local top signs. People are aping into meme coins, and generally there's a lot of risk taking going on. And I wouldn't be surprised if a local top's in, but from a probabilistic standpoint, that was a good place to bet Solana, right at range lows, took out the lows, came back inside, failed on the news. Everyone panicked on inflation news, so that's a good area. Maybe it comes back down, wrecks me, but I'm fairly confident that it should hold and push higher from here. And once we start getting towards the highs, if we do, that's when I'll be looking out for signs of a top, right? Because this could still also be a distribution on Solana. Maybe it pushes up and people FOMO in at the highs, and that's it, right? Maybe that's all it's going for. Maybe it's just going for liquidity, up to liquidity, and we reject. Something to keep an eye on as well. But yeah, I think betting on the long from the bottom of that range was the better choice. So that's my main play at the moment in terms of my only position, my only position on Bybit. Don't have anything else. I've got spot longs. I've got some altcoins that I'm holding spot, but in terms of perp trades, it's just Solana. So I'll see how that goes. Oh yeah, also the whole FUD. There's been a lot of FUD around Solana over the past week because all these failed transactions, which is a bullish thing because so many people are using the chain that it's clogged, it's congested. Now the chain shouldn't be congested, it should work, blah blah blah. But there's so many people wants to use Solana that it's breaking. So they'll fix that, and it'll end up being the best thing that ever happened because it will make them bigger and better and stronger. But people are like, Solana's piece of shit, it's piece of shit, piece of shit. It's going slow, it's breaking down, blah blah. That never works in a bull market. Your basic bear logic doesn't work in bull markets, right? Anything that creates panic or fear is going to make people want to short or get bearish. There we go. We buy it up and away it goes. So let's see. That's it. Obviously, I'm in from 167. Not saying necessarily you buy here. Definitely don't just blindly follow me anyway. But I do think if everything goes right, which is a big if, but if everything goes right, I think Solana can run to all-time high. But I'd be pretty confident it can at least run to range highs, which means I should be able to get out in profit regardless. 204 is the big resistance. So you have a couple of key levels here that matter along the way. I see two levels. 204, which is here, which was the December 2021 level, and 225. 225 is 100 billion market cap. So they're the two big levels. So it has to get over 204, get over 225. I think if it does both of those, all-time highs next, up towards 260. So GM.